We'll give everyone another minute or so to come in. All right, we are going to be pretty punctual here, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I know we have some participants in here already, but we'll probably have a few more who will join. It's exactly 2 o'clock. I will introduce myself to you, and then I will hand this presentation over. My name is Sherilyn Reynolds. I am on the executive board of NJACAC. I am a volunteer facilitator for this presentation today. And so with that being said, I want to welcome everybody to learn about RPI. And now I will hand the presentation over to Jennifer, who will be running the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Jen Yeager. I'm one of the assistant directors of undergrad admissions at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, located in upstate New York. Specifically the city of Troy. Let me share my screen for you. And then we'll have time for some Q&A towards the end if you have any questions that you want to drop in there. All righty, here we go. So thanks again for joining us today. Again, my name is Jen Yeager. I am in charge of recruiting for the entire state of New Jersey for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, the very first polytechnic school in the entire United States. And here we are, again, oldest polytechnic school in the US. We were founded back in 1824 by Stephen Van Rensselaer and also Amos Eaton. And we have lots of goals at Rensselaer, but one of those main goals is to make the most of a Rensselaer education by making it the most modern education that a student can get across different fields, very interdisciplinary. We want to make sure that no student is being siloed within their discipline and they are able to speak intelligently about lots of different subject areas. The other big thing is that at Rensselaer, we want to make sure that students are trained to be leaders in their field, not just to get a job. And we're able to do that through the application of knowledge. So basically that means that students are ready to work with the technology that hasn't even been invented yet and trained to use those applications of knowledge. My screen's lagging. So here we are in upstate New York. We are nestled in between lots of busy urban areas. The city of Troy itself is a small city of about 50,000 people. And we are up on a hill at Rensselaer. So it's just a 10-minute walk down the hill to the city of Troy, where there is a lot going on for a small city of 50,000 people. We have a famous farmers market that's open year-round, even in the snow and cold of the winter, it's indoors. We have tons of restaurants for a small city, and there's really a festival every weekend for students to go to. Anything from Chowder Fest to the Troy Pig Out. There's a lot of activity going on for sure. And then when students want to escape the capital region for a weekend away, it's just 3 hours south to Manhattan. You can go 3 hours east and hit Boston. Or if you want to leave the country, it's 4.5 hours north to Montreal, Canada. So there really is a lot for students to do. The other main thing to keep in mind is we are amongst about 13 or 14 other colleges and universities. So they really do cater to college students and keeping them happy here in the capital region. So where would we be without our alumni? Everybody's very proud of their alumni contributions, but I feel like we have an extra level of affinity for our alumni, just outstanding people that are really changing the world. Some of those are like George Lowe. He was a space pioneer and engineer at the time of the Apollo space landing. He was also the director of that Apollo space program. We have George Ferris, who invented the Ferris wheel, and also Peter Bolin. He was the architect that designed the Apple Store in Manhattan, and then many after that first one up there made of glass. Very cool things. More recently, Carly Strife was class of 2008. She's the co-founder and CFO of BarkBox, which sends treats to dogs around the world. And then here's one of our other alumni, Reid Wiseman, or Commander Reid Wiseman of the class of 1997. He was actually able to Skype from the International Space Station at one of our fall open houses. So talking about how you can impact the world for good, he was floating around the International Space Station with his RPI hockey shirt on. So the new Polytechnic, you will see this when you're able to return to campus and visit us, or you'll see it on our website from home. We have the new Polytechnic kind of splashed everywhere. This is a term that's coined from our current president, the 18th president of Rensselaer, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. And the new Polytechnic basically has to do with what does everybody want in education today? They want it to be very hands-on. They want those experiences like co-ops and internships. And that's what it really means. It's about the application of math and science. Again, so students are not siloed. They're not just an engineer. They're not just a biologist. They have specialties and then subspecialties in their knowledge. So because of this interdisciplinary nature of a Rensselaer education, we do see our 5 academic schools shown as a Venn diagram because there are low walls between those schools. Students will take classes outside of the school that they're enrolled in. Again, giving you that interdisciplinary feel to your education. In addition to our 5 academic schools, students at Rensselaer are encouraged and given lots of supports to be successful. This is not a school where students are going to be weeded out. We want to maintain our students and keep them with us and make them successful for their later careers. That's why we're really happy that we have a retention rate from freshman to sophomore year of about 93%. And it's because of the massive and multi-tiered supports we have in place for students. That could be anything from our ALAC Advising and Learning Assistance Center. That's where students are going to get tutoring in their foundation courses of Calc 1, Physics 1, Chem 1 to make sure that they're successful. There's an early warning system with ALAC as well, where the faculty can reach out to student advisors if they start falling behind or missing classes to get them caught up. We also have I Persist, which is a mentoring program. Again, lots of levels of support for freshmen from the upperclassmen that have taken classes before, they've been through the experience, and they come on as mentors to help the underclassmen be successful. We also have the Archer Center of Leadership, which works on skill development. There's that piece where we don't want our students to just graduate and get a job, but to be leaders in their field. And the Archer Center is very involved with this support. And also our faculty ratio, we actually have to update the slide. We just went from a 13-to-1 student faculty ratio to a 12-to-1. So that's good news. We are an undergraduate research institute, so that puts us at about 6,500 undergraduate students. Not too small and not too big. And I should mention 100% of classes are taught by our faculty. Okay, so let's skim over the 5 schools that we have here at Rensselaer, because it's important to know that a Rensselaer education really supports students to get a dual major. They have chances to take on a minor or even multiple minors. So it's important that students get that breadth and depth in their education. We do have a School of Architecture, 2 academic programs. The B-Arch is our only 5-year academic program for a bachelor's. 5 years because it gets students ready to sit for their licensing exams as an architect. And then there's a BS in Building Sciences, which is a 4-year degree. That program is a marriage of students' interests in architecture and engineering. So that's a good way to describe skill sets that you might use. If you are going into building sciences, you might be a consultant in an architecture firm. And the other thing to remember about the building sciences BS is that those students will deal with systems in a building. they will deal with things like lighting systems or acoustics. So very interesting work. They're actually doing lots of research right now on circadian rhythms and how the lighting in nursing homes can affect people living there and improve their quality of life. We also talk in the School of Architecture about the really great study abroad programs that we have at Rensselaer. Programs in India, Italy, China, Japan, and Latin America. The most recent program is Japan. And we always talk about study abroad within the School of Architecture just because it's the school that sends the most students to study abroad experiences. Okay, and then as far as study abroad goes, we do have, again, experiences across all 5 schools. Engineering students are involved with the Global E3, which is the exchange program that allows for seamless transfer of those engineering credits across curriculum. And then the School of Engineering is what we're known for. 55% of students at Rensselaer, are engineering majors. We are up to 11 different types of engineering currently. The 3 most popular programs currently are aeronautical, biomedical, and mechanical engineering. And again, students have lots of opportunities with multiple interests to declare minors, dual majors. So it's a very flexible curriculum in that way. There's also lots of support for women in engineering and across all 5 schools. Clubs like Society of Women Engineers, for instance, where, again, we have mentoring systems in place to make sure that our female students are supported. It's also important to know that we have, as a Polytechnic school, about 32% of our student body is female, which is about 10 to 11% ahead of the national average for a Polytechnic school. So we're very proud of that. Very important to recognize that one of our most asked questions as a Polytechnic school that majors in engineering is, what if I don't know the type of engineering I want to study? 40% of our School of Engineering students will change their major during their time at Rensselaer, and the curriculum is made to account for this. So what students will get is breadth at the beginning of their study, freshman, sophomore years, those foundation engineering classes that are common to most. Then it's junior, senior year. Well, they will start to specialize into their specific major. And because of this, as long as students are able to declare their major by the end of sophomore year, they're right on track to graduate within the 4-year time limit. Students are supported in this way. They can take 1-credit classes freshman year. Engineering 1700 is one of those classes, which shows the outcomes for students when they go into an engineering class. What would it do if I had an aeronautical engineering major? What kinds of jobs would I be looking for? And there's programs to support this as well outside of the classroom. We also have the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. We call that HUS for short. And basically, this is going to be very different from a humanities major that would be at a liberal arts college. So we have lots of different programs offered. The most popular right now in HUS is Games and Simulation, Arts and Sciences. We're very lucky because very often students will graduate from Rensselaer and then decide to stay here in the capital region because it's a bit of a gaming hub. Lots of entrepreneurs are doing startups in gaming industry and then staying here to cultivate those gaming industries. We also have cognitive science, which looks at the mind as a machine, the human mind as a machine, which works lots with artificial intelligence work. I will say that there's work being done with artificial intelligence across all 5 of our academic schools, but it is very prevalent in that cognitive science major as well. And these are some of the businesses that our students are going to graduating with School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences degree. Some are technical in nature and some are not. Some are in the entertainment industry. But we always like to show off some of the places students are going for careers and for co-ops and internships as well. We have the Lally School of Management. We do have a business school. We like to call it small but mighty. About 5% of our students at Rensselaer are enrolled at the Lally School of Management. We have 2 degree programs. So it's the BS in Business Management with its concentrations, and then the BS in Business Analytics. So that BS in Business Analytics is going to be for students involved and interested in business, but also computer science and also higher level math. Those are people that are going to be working within business organizations tracking data, and it's kind of all about the data right now. So these are very up and coming positions. The other thing with the BS in Business Analytics is that students will often be able to forecast trends with that data in marketing and look at the flow that way. We are AACSB accredited as a business school, which less than 5% of business schools across the nation are. So we're very proud of that high standard. And again, these are some of the business, places that students are going to work after graduation. Please note that the average starting salary is around $72,000, which is right on par with what students are getting in engineering degrees and in School of Science degrees as well. So it's right there with them. And then we have the School of Science. 30% of students at Rensselaer are enrolled in the School of Science. We have 4 different degree programs that revolve around biology in some way, shape, or form. So there's biochemistry and biophysics, biological neuroscience, biology, and the newest is computational biology. The most popular program in the School of Science is computer science. And we also have an accelerated 7-year physician scientist program in compilation with Albany Medical College. So students in that program will spend their first 3 years at Rensselaer, and then they go to the last 4 years of that program at Albany Medical College. This is our most competitive program as far as admissions process goes. And the great thing about this program is students get to bypass taking the MCATs for entrance into med school. Research. We talked a little bit about research early on, and we should note that of the 6,500 students enrolled at Rensselaer, more than 900 of them are participating in undergraduate research. Really, that emphasis on undergraduate research is very important because students will have the opportunity not only to work under faculty members in these revolutionary projects, but along with students who are doing doctoral work or their master's work. So that's very good exposure for these undergraduate students. It's a very organic process. You can begin as early as your 2nd semester of freshman year on research, and it's very organic. You can knock on doors of professors you know are involved in different projects, shoot them an email, and off you go. ITWS is Information Technology and Web Science. So this is a very unique program. I continue to say that we have multidisciplinary programming here at Rensselaer, but ITWS is the most multidisciplinary program. That is because students are able to look at web science and they can use that as a tool to look at lots of different concentrations. They get to pick, do you want to look at finance through the scope of web science, or medicine, or machine learning, or engineering? It really is up to the student. And again, offers many opportunities for dual majors and multiple minors. Oftentimes students will pair ITWS with a computer science major, or they might pair it with a computer and systems engineering major. So the sky's the limit. And speaking of the sky being the limit, students graduating with this degree program are having starting salaries around $100,000 per year as a starting salary. So if you haven't looked into ITWS, you might want to. This screen, I've said this often, many times, but it really is becoming a driving force of a Rensselaer education, that with students having so many opportunities to be able to look at different degree programs, it's very easy to declare minors in different areas and those dual majors. Very common majors that are dualed together at Rensselaer would be aeronautical and mechanical engineering. Oftentimes students will do computer and systems engineering and electrical engineering, or game and simulation arts and sciences with computer science. And this is not an exhaustive list. For an exhaustive list, you could actually go to that red URL right there. This would be a good page to take a screenshot of. You could take out your cell phone and take a picture for later. Very important to know all the different combinations that you can do. So we have not yet talked about the Coterminal program. We talked about the fact that the School of Architecture, the Architecture B-Arch program is actually a 5-year program. This is the Coterminal program, where students are able to earn both their bachelor's and their master's degree within a 5-year period. This is a really great value for students, because any undergraduate Rensselaer financial aid that they have in their bachelor's program, they're able to extend into the master's. Remembering that oftentimes master's degrees are solely paid for with student loans, this is a big deal. So that would be a great opportunity to extend that aid. The other thing to mention is we always put this in our presentation so students are aware of it. It is not something that students have to apply for early on. Students don't even apply for Coterminal programs until their junior year, but we like to put it on their radar for sure. This is the CCPD. When I talked about support systems that are in place for our students, CCPD is a big one. They are constantly involved with the students at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute to help make them successful. Networking is huge. And they have career fairs each year, one in the fall, one in the spring, put on by our CCPD, where 500 companies come onto campus. And they could do live interviews with students. And we always say to the students, take advantage right away, go over to the career fairs freshman year and see what questions are being asked, see how the upperclassmen are dressing, and start to get a sense of, well, what companies do I want to talk to when I go and participate fully in this next year. And speaking of co-ops and internships, this is, again, a very small listing of some of the companies students are doing their co-ops and internships with. Again, we have a very good list, the CCPD, I should say, on their website at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. They have a long list broken up by major, by academic major, showing exactly where our students for the past few years have been going for co-ops, internships, and job placements. Check it out, you will be impressed. This is the arch. This is the way that Rensselaer students are able to have all these myriad of experiences, be interdisciplinary, and still graduate within 4 years. So basically what it says is that when the sophomores get done with their spring semester, they will go home for a summer break, but it's a short summer break of about 2 to 3 weeks. Then they come back onto the Rensselaer campus, and it's just that rising junior class. They're the only ones on campus. They are then going to take 1 semester of their junior level work. What this is going to do is open up a semester junior year for their semester away. That will be the chance for students to study abroad, do a research project, co-ops and internships. And this is a really great way for students to do this, if for nothing else, and for opening up time for students to have hands-on experience. A lot of students I've talked to said that that summer semester, which seems like a drag to have to do college during the summer, is their favorite semester. They have fun experiences with the rest of the class. They are studying, but they also have time for like day trips and weekends away together, and they really like that experience. Again, this is a limited list of some of the places students are going after graduation from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. You'll see some other colleges at the bottom, students who opt to not participate in the Coterminal program and stay at Rensselaer for a 5th year to get their master's degree. So these are some of the colleges that they might be going to for master's or doctoral studies. And then we haven't talked about student life at all yet. I always use this as an opportunity to say that our students are our best ambassadors, and they give the best sense. They've lived the life, they've had the ups and downs, and they know what's what. Talking to the students is a great, great resource for potential students and prospective students. So I advise students to go on to our admissions website, admissions@rensselaer.edu, and look on the side for the ambassadors. You can email the students directly that are student ambassadors with admissions, and they are our greatest resource. They can give all kinds of tips about student life. Again, there are many supports for our students. We have a CLASS system, which stands for Clustered Learning, Advocacy, and Support for Students. This means multi-level support systems make our students successful. First year experience, orientation and navigating Rensselaer and beyond. Incoming students have those supports. They get to know downtown Troy. They get to know the campus. They get to know their professors. And then after first year, students will have a class dean that stays with them for the rest of their time at Rensselaer. So they get to know them personally and how to help them. We are a residential campus, so there's on-campus housing for freshman, sophomore year, and the Arch summer semester. And then after that, students can choose whether they want to remain on campus or live off campus. We have 212 clubs and organizations at Rensselaer, and this is a student-led union, which means that the students are integral in planning, on being on boards, and doing the finance and budgeting for these clubs, which is great, great skills for the students to carry on into their careers. The most popular club right now is the Rensselaer Outing Club. We have lots of programs and a very multicultural campus. So many of the programs in place are multicultural or religious based. There really is something for everybody, which is good because we are welcoming students from 26 different countries to our Rensselaer campus. So we also want to make sure that everybody feels supported and is learning something from each other at the same time. Student life, again, we have Greek life, 26 fraternities and 5 sororities. I'm often told the high level of philanthropy through the Greek organizations really exceeds the normal national level for a fraternity or a sorority. And I also mentioned that there are opportunities for students to participate in philanthropy through Engineers Without Borders or Habitat for Humanity. So students that really got involved in community service can continue that service while at Rensselaer. Athletics, we have 80% of our students somehow, believe it or not, that are involved in athletics on some level while their time, during their time at Rensselaer. We have high rigor, but students also like to have fun. So we have D3 sports across the board for our varsity sports teams. The exception to that is our men's ice hockey team and our women's ice hockey team, which is Division I. So those are our big school spirit events. And then we haven't talked about application options yet. So you can apply using Common App, you can use Coalition App, or Candidate's Choice is just Rensselaer's own application. We don't prefer any one over the other. Use what works the best for you. We have Early Decision 1 and 2, which are binding decisions. So if you got accepted, you would be expected to withdraw any applications to other colleges. We also have added Early Action this year. That is not binding. So the deadline for that is December 1st. And that basically means you apply early, you get your decision early, and you move through the process. If you don't know where you want to land yet, you might just want to apply regular decision. That deadline is January the 15th. And here's Puckman, our mascot. It is a holistic application review, which is very good, especially for us in admissions, because we can carry on that holistic review, looking at each part of the application. We are test optional this year, so that is more important than ever. If you choose not to submit test scores, it won't negatively impact your application. So that's important to keep in mind. What are we looking for on the transcript? 3 years of science, 4 years of math, at least through pre-calc. Obviously, if you can get calc into your schedule, do so. It'll just make you that much more competitive. And we're looking for an A- average is what we usually see for accepted students. Keep in mind it's an average. So we will see a sprinkling of B's in there, some C's, especially as you're getting into really challenging curriculum. If you're taking multivariable calculus and you're getting a C, you are doing really well. So keep that in mind. We take that into contextual while we're looking at those applications. We accept 32 credits of college credit. 20 of those 32 credits can come from AP or IB credit. We do look at those extracurricular activities and leadership. Leadership looks different to every student. Does not mean you're going to be the captain of every sports team. You're not going to be the president of every organization. You might be heading up one of the committees. You might have a babysitting job. So again, we just want to see that students are involved and active in their communities and their schools. We only require 1 letter of recommendation. Often students will send somewhere between 1 and 3. Very important to know, we do want 1 letter of recommendation to be from a core math or core science teacher. And after that, ask anybody you want. The essay is very low stress. We don't have our own prompts. The prompts can come from your Common App, your Coalition app. This is really the most enjoyable part for us when we're reading applications, because that's when we get to learn about the student. You can write about whatever you want, but it does not have to be STEM-based just because we're a Polytech school. Creative portfolios are required for architecture and for music. If you apply for game simulation arts and sciences or electronic arts, it's optional whether you submit that portfolio or not. Financial aid, all US citizens and permanent residents and Canadian citizens are automatically considered for the merit aid. It comes right from the admission application. If you're interested in need-based aid, you have to fill out the FAFSA and also the CSS profile. That just takes a deeper dive into the family finances. And then we always like to talk about return on investment because college is not cheap. The average starting salary for our students coming out of Rensselaer is $74,000, which means our students are paying back their student loans quickly, which also means that we have a less than 2% student default rate, which we're very proud of as well. And then definitely check out our beautiful campus. We are not yet welcoming students for tours. I know we're biased, but go.rpi.edu/tour is a really good tour. It looks at things like MPAC, the East Campus Athletic Village, and it looks at different facilities amongst the 5 schools. So definitely check it out. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that we have a really active RPI Admissions Instagram account. It's at RPI Admissions. We do takeovers. We work with other departments. Some of the takeovers that we're doing are going to be with our counselors. I'm actually doing one this week, so look for me. But there's something constantly going on RPI Admissions on Instagram, so definitely check that one out. And then this is another page that you could take a picture of, take a screenshot. This is a great resource for any of you interested in the accelerated 7-year physician scientist program. There's a contact information there. For the Rensselaer medalists, there's contact there. So you might want to take a picture of this page moving forward so you know some of the contacts other than the admissions office that you might need. That's a very good resource. And that is all I have for you right now. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see if any questions have popped up. And let's see. Any questions today? End show. I'm going to get this guy out of my way. I'm back. It's so Monday today. Q&A. Oh, do we have a marching band? We have different bands. We do not have like a competitive marching band right now. And I can actually just answer that in that way. Any other questions today? Is there anything I haven't answered while I was talking to everybody? If not, I can go back and show you some more information that has to do with the students. Oh, there's more. International school. So as far as we have lots of students that apply internationally, and we do take the TOEFL for the English test, and especially lately, we've been accepting the Duolingo English test as well, so that's important. The RPI Medalist Program is one of our it's like one of our best scholarship programs that we have. So basically what happens is each school district throughout the country, and in some cases the world, are able to nominate a student of outstanding caliber to be their medalist student. So they will nominate a junior, and then once that junior applies the following senior year to Rensselaer, if they're accepted, then they will be a medalist. They get a scholarship of $30,000 each year that they attend RPI. So if they're in there 4 years, they get $30,000 for 4 years. If they do the Coterminal program, they get $30,000 for 5 years. So it's a really good scholarship, and they can get it in conjunction with some other scholarships as well. What else can we talk about today? Yes, that's a good question. So someone was asking about, are there different application requirements for each of the 5 schools? And the answer is a big no. We accept students directly to Rensselaer. So you won't have that situation where, I got accepted to Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, but I didn't get accepted to their School of Engineering. What do I do now? That doesn't happen. You apply to be in the School of Engineering, you get accepted to Rensselaer, you get accepted to that school. The other thing to keep in mind is that as we read applications, we use the exact same application review across all 5 schools. So every single school we read, exact same process. The only exception to that rule is our accelerated 7-year program with Albany Medical College. It is a little bit longer of a process because we actually send our accepted applications to Albany Med, and they do the rest of their selection process. That's the only exception. All the rest of our applications are read exactly the same way. Anything else I can help answer for you guys today? I'm looking at see how we're doing on time because I don't want to get caught off. The other thing I wanted to show everybody while I'm noticing that we have a couple minutes is I'll go back very quickly to share my screen because I kind of skimmed over something that I like to highlight. Come on, from beginning. It gets cranky. I wanted to show everybody because I talked about the importance of our students as representing Rensselaer, and I like to go back and show you the dual majors and minors that our students are involved with. So this is Malika. She's class of 22. She's from Maryland, and she represents our School of Architecture students. So she's also the president of NOMAS, which is the National Organization of Minority Architecture Students. And she's also one of the learning assistants, which is basically like an RA and a tutor in one. And then, where's our engineering student? Is Lisa. So Lisa is class of 21 from Massachusetts. She's a mechanical engineering major. She's the class president of the entire class of 2021, and she's also in the pep band, which is a major commitment. Somebody asked about marching band. Pep band is one of the main things that our music students will take part in because they play for the men's and women's ice hockey games and a couple different events. So they're kind of busy in and of their own right. She also is participating in undergraduate research using a whole bunch of things that I don't know about, but I know that she's studying and doing that research in Lake George with fluorescence. and algae. So our students are very busy, but it seems like everybody's happy to be super busy, if nothing else. Oh, go back. This is Rochelle. She's class of 23. She's from New Jersey. Yay! She is a dual major, so she's a good example. Psychological science and biological neuroscience. She's also on the ski team. She's in Alpha Phi sorority, and she's in the food recovery network. Again, that philanthropy at the higher level, donating food from leftover from the dining halls to shelters. Anna is class of 21, and she represents business and management. I'm just checking my time so I don't go over on us. Okay, about 5 minutes left. She's an ALAC, so I talked about the Advising and Learning Assistance Center. So she went through as a freshman, she had tutors, and now she's one of the tutors in the Learning Assistance Center for the incoming freshmen. She's also an Alpha Phi sorority. And then Kiera represents our students from School of Science. She is a geology major with a minor in astrobiology. She's the president of the Science Ambassadors, and she's also in Sigma Gamma Epsilon, the Earth and Environmental Honor Society. This is Chris. He's class of 21 from New York State. So he's a dual major in ITWS and computer science. He's also president of Gamma Nu Eta, which is the Information Technology Honor Society. And then another look at that slide with the minors. And then this is Sonia. She's actually one of our student athletes. She's on the women's varsity soccer team. She's also in Soul Survivors Club, which raises money for women that were involved in sexual abuse and things of that nature. She, in addition to being on the soccer team, she's a dual major with Design, Innovation, and Society, which is one of our Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences majors, and then a dual with Biomedical Engineering. When you have a major in Biomedical Engineering, you can choose a concentration. Hers is in Biomaterials. Again, I don't know how the students have time to sleep, but somehow they do it. All right, I will stop that there, but I wanted to make sure you guys had an extra chance to look at the students at Rensselaer and see just how really involved they are. Oop, I see some more questions. Oh, actually, it's the same ones from before. I answered them all. Okay, but if you guys need anything else, you can reach out to me directly. I'm your direct point of contact as the New Jersey representative for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. And then my email address is yagerj2@rpi.edu. So it's just yagerj2@rpi.edu. I'm happy to help anytime if you think of questions tomorrow or next month or in 6 months. I am happy to help at any time. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. And
thank you so much. There. And we have just a reminder, I'm going to share my screen quickly.
Thanks. Oh.
So thank you for joining us. When you close your window, you will get a quick survey if you can please fill that out. And we do remind you to sign up for more sessions, and you can sign up at njacac.org/virtual-fair. The recording will be available in about a week, and you can again access that on that virtual fair website. So thank you everybody for coming, and thank you to Jennifer.
Thank you.